Hi everybody, it's Christina from Card Making Magic. Today I'm using the Clever Cuts collection and we're going to make 2 cards in white and silver, and one is going to be specifically for a wedding. So here are my 2 cards. They're both 6-inch squares and I have mats that will fit on the front. This one is slightly smaller and this one is quite a bit smaller, but as long as they fit a frame around them, that's fine. Now for this one I'm going to use this die, and this comes in 3 parts. So I cut the base twice and then I've used each one of these in each layer to cut myself these, and these are going to layer up together to create my base. This is the offset background. Now these panels are going to be embossed and then that one will lay on top. Now the bits that fall out of this don't waste, because what you're going to do is glue the thicker one with the thinner one, so that you will create strips like this and you will have all these to add to your card. So don't throw them away, they will still come in useful. Now from some circular dies I've chosen 2 that will fit on the front of my card, and I'm going to cut this out 4 times, 2 for each card. So by taping these frames together, that ensures that I get frames that are die cut exactly the same size, and I'm going to stack 2 to each for each card, 2 together there and 2 together there. Now for each of these panels I'm going to emboss them in a folder, and you can use any folder that you have. So this is the A5 floral one from Card Making Magic, and that's the pattern that you will have in your card. So we'll pop these card bases on one side, and from this die I have taken some parchment and I have cut this 3 times. I've also taken the circle dies and I've cut these from some white card. Now I'm also going to take this one again and cut it from some silver card. Now with these shapes, if you look, you have a scalloped edge on one and a pointed edge on the other, so you need to make sure that these are all facing the correct way, and all you're going to do is along the crease lines you're just going to fold all these up into a concertina shape. Now once you've done that and you've folded them all the same way, you're going to hook these over the ends and glue them in place on those 2 joins. So once you have these all glued together and you have the shapes all going the same way, you're going to bring it round and you're going to glue this flap and slot that one on the top, and then leave it to set up. So while we leave that to set up, we'll work on this one. So take your frame and lay it face down and use your grid mat as a guide. Now these that you've doubled up, you're going to lay them down equally on your mat so that you have a nice even gap between all of them. And you're going to glue those in place. Right, so pop that on one side and allow the glue to set up on that. This is now set, so decide which end you want to be on the edge of your circle, and I want the scalloped ends, so I'm just going to push this down into the middle. Now with this white one, I'm just going to pop that on the top there and glue that in place. Now once that's glued in place, flip it over, add the silver one to this side and the white one on top. Now I've used a hot glue for mine, and that's keeping those in place exactly where I want them. So we'll pop that on one side, and for these two, one has thicker bands, the other has thinner. So I'm going to glue the thinner ones and I'm going to place them right on top of the thicker ones, and that will leave me the same kind of gap on each side. Now, because you've trimmed this panel down to fit the front of your card, you will find that once this is added to this, it's a little bit smaller. So glue it in place and trim that off. You're also going to trim around the edges of this circle. So just angle your scissors just underneath and just cut these edges off. Now these two dies produced the frame that's that size, but if you look at that, it doesn't quite fit around there. So I've taken that one out and I've put a smaller one in, and that's now given me a frame that sits that size, which is bigger than the one there. So if I add that one first and then add that one, I have a double layered frame around my rosette. So for this card, I'm going to glue these two together. I'm going to add the embossed panel to my card, and I'm going to glue my rosette in place. So I'm going to add this to my card front, and again I'm going to use some hot glue to glue that in place, and then I'll glue that onto the top, keeping that rosette in the middle. So for this card, I'm also going to glue this in place, and I'm going to leave a nice border around each side. And then for this one, I'm going to take some white ribbon and I'm going to weave it through the slats. So we'll go up and down and again, and finish with a down, and make sure that that's nice and neat in the middle, and we can glue that on in place on each side, and then we'll do another row going the other way. So once I've done that, I'm going to add some foam tape along each of those strips. So to create my bow, I've folded my ribbon over so that it's double. I've got the loop down here, and I'm going to wrap it around my fingers. Now I do have videos to show you how I create my bows. You can always use a bow maker if you have one. But we'll hang on to these tails. Now we'll separate these two ribbons out and we'll find the tail that pulls the top loop, and that's that one. So we'll pull that down just a little bit and we'll separate these and find the ribbon that pulls this top loop, and now that cannot close back up together. And then with some scissors we'll just cut off the rest of the tails at an angle, and we'll add that to the card. And I've changed my mind, I'm going to put that on that way, and I'm going to put the bow there along the bottom. So those are the bases now ready to decorate, and we'll add some flowers. And just to decorate up the centres of these, I've found a little white pearl for the knot, and I've found a little floral piece for the centre of the rosette. Now to create my flowers, I've taken some parchment. I'm using a stamp positioner. I have taken the stamps from the set and I've added them to my board, and they're in a position now where I can stamp them up. I'm going to just put some talcum powder on this so that it doesn't take my fingerprints. We'll ink this up with some embossing powder, embossing ink, and we'll stamp that down, and then we'll add some silver embossing powder and heat it. And now we can add our powder. Tip the surplus back into the pot, and then we can heat that. Now once that's been heated, I turned my my parchment around and I did the other side. So once you've stamped them, use your dies to cut these out, and cut as many as you need for both of your cards. And from your silver card with the leaves and the flourishes, again cut as many of these as you need for both of your cards. So once you have your flowers and your leaves and your flourishes cut out, you can go ahead and add these anywhere you would like on your cards. So I've cut lots of flowers out ready to add into my display, and I'm going to go away and glue these in place and come back to you when they're all done. Now because the glue is hidden behind these solid pieces, it won't show, and we can dot some of the leaves in as and where we want them, either with hot glue or some very thin foam pads. I will put the rest of the flowers in as and where we would like them. So we can just put some of these on to the card with some foam, little foam pads in the dots, in the centres, and they can be added along the side. Put the leaves in around the card. Now from my collection I've taken birthday wishes and on your special day, and I've cut the base from parchment and I've cut the words from silver, and they're going to be added to both of my cards. Any flowers that you have left over, you can always keep those for another project, along with any other pieces that you've cut out that you've not used. So there you have two really special cards in white and silver. Both could be wedding day cards, but I've chosen to make one as a birthday card and the other is for a wedding. Decorate the insides with a suitable verse and create a box, and that is a wonderful card to give to somebody for their special occasion. So these are the items that I've used for my cards, and I've used the a 6x6 offset background. I've used the Rosettes some more and the Trailing Florals die and stamp set. I've used an embossing folder from my stash and 2 sentiments, but that's created my cards now ready to send. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please join me on the next one. And why not subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell, and then you'll always be aware when I add a new video. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.